Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. This is the season 10 finale for the Apex Point Racing League, and we're going to be doing 90 minutes at the Lasath 24-hour Le Mans track with no chicane. So it's going to be a bit of a speed fest, but there's also rain on the horizon, so it'll get tricky at some point in the race. So here we are in lap 1. I've qualified 6th, which I was pretty happy about, really. And this is the Foundation Cup, and tonight we have 11 or 12, I can't remember. Not a full field anyway, but we'll work through them. I think there's 12. And so we're on lap 1, about to go out onto the Mulsanne, and we'll see the bump drafting starting to happen. So up the road, the fast guys have distanced me a little bit, and I've got Loki or Casper behind me in 7th. He's generally a little bit quicker than me, and behind him Bren, surprisingly, who is always pretty quick. So we'll be looking at the back. We can see Loki coming, and we're going to get a push up the road here in a minute, which will be really helpful to see if I can get back into the toe of the top 5. It's a long way down here with no chicanes, that's for sure. But probably a good thing for someone of my level. So here we go with the first touch, and I think my speed picked up about 5 or 10 k's an hour with this little bump draft. And of course with the bump draft I outbrake myself, and that's okay. Like he gets past, Bren is going to get past. So I've dropped back a couple of places now, but hopefully I can push Bren up the road if I can stay in touch. I think that's Willie behind me, Willie Swerve. So we're coming down to Indianapolis and Arnage. Didn't quite get up close enough to give Bren a bump through here. Indianapolis was really my bogey corner at this track. I had a lot of offs there in practice, and so I'm a little bit cautious. Get down through here okay, still in the slipstream, and yeah, that's Willie behind me, but he's got a penalty, and unfortunately for Willie that seemed to be the way his race went, and he would have been a lot further up the order apart from the penalty count that he ended up with. So coming down towards the end of the first lap, still in touch with Bren, just trying to hold on so that I'm ready to give him a push when we get to the Mulsanne. Down into the final chicane. I was really helped by the track guide done the night before by Kiwi Brett, and I managed to find a really good line and a braking point through the final chicane. You can see I get up onto the back of Bren, and I've just got to hold it down through here, because this also, which is now the Goodyear chicane, but back in the day they did this track, was the Dunlop chicane. I did have a few wild moments there in the sand in practice, so just being a little cautious. I felt I had this combination through here down to Terre Rouge pretty well ironed out. I just generally went with a little tap on the brake to get some weight over the front wheels, and then be cautious of the track limit there. So I should be able to pull up to the back of Bren here in a minute and give him a bump draft and see if we can get a bit closer to the front runners. Yeah, and I'm closing in on Bren now, and let's see if I can push him up to Loki. That's one bump. And the second bump before we make it to the what would have been the second chicane if we were using it. We blast through there and get another little tap here. And I have to pop out of the slipstream because I'm trying to work out where I am on the track, because that being tucked under the wing of that Porsche, I was always struggling to work out where I was for braking markers. So I just pop out and give him a little bit of space, and we've managed to get ourselves back up pretty close into the slipstream behind Loki. And this is bringing us towards the end of the second lap. I'm right there with him, giving him a push up this short second straight, and we're not all that far off the back of the cars ahead of us now. So working together, really quite helpful. Willie's overcome his penalty and he's catching us too, so we might have a little battle pack of 4 here soon to be able to try and get ourselves back up towards the front of the race. I've jumped forward a little bit now, and remembering of course that we're on a 16 times multiplier here, so we're doing 24 hours effectively in our 90-minute stint, so it's starting to get a little dark and we're just looking back through the pack, see where everyone is. You see Willie here in 8th, and Loki Casper's got a penalty and obviously had a bit of an off somewhere because he's now back in 9th position. So he was running 6th at one stage there ahead of me. There I am in 7th, and up the road from me in 6th is Brent. So a slight rearrangement at the back, but the four of us are all still fairly close together as the night starts to settle. And you can see up the road all the cars aren't that far apart, which was one of the great things with Foundation Cup this year. We were all pretty closely matched, apart from maybe a couple of really fast guys at the front. Great fun racing. And then down the back we've got Yowie running with Sapper. They're a little bit further back behind us in 10 and 11. Okay, so a little bit further up the road we can see the lights are right on now, and Rooster's had a bit of a problem. Bren is through, I'm through, Willie's through, which is pretty surprising given that Rooster's our season leading driver and could win the championship tonight with a good result. Doesn't have to win it, but just needs to be up towards the front. So we're all pretty surprised to catch and pass him there. And again, we're just holding our own. Willie's all over the back of me, and coming down through the Dunlop S's. I give him plenty of room just in case. But he's still holding his line through here as we go into the darkness. Rooster recovering there, starting to catch back up to us. Now that older Porsche in Rooster's hands was a real weapon. And again, there's Willie with a time penalty, which I'm sure without these time penalties he would have been possibly a contender for the podium. We'll never know. So back onto the Mulsanne, working on some bump drafting. This is even harder in the dark for me because, as I said earlier in the video, trying to find my braking marker when I'm stuck up tight behind a car in front was tricky. So we've got three of us here pushing in the dark on the Mulsanne. So we're coming out of Arnage. Willie's got a penalty to serve, so I don't have to worry too much about him, but I can see Rooster catching me fairly quickly, and knowing that he has a championship on the line, I give him plenty of space through here and make sure he can pass safely, because he is going to be a quicker driver with a lot more at stake than I have as a mid runner. And so Rooster's through and is back up to 6th and is now chasing down to get back to the front of the race, where he can continue to contend for the championship of Season 10 in Foundation Cup. Jumping forward again, and we can see the order of business. So Yowie at the back, I'm in 10th, Sapper's up to 9th, both of us with penalties. We've got Casper in 8th, Willie swerves in 7th. Well, pretty close together still. And we'll lose a little bit of ground here with these half-second penalties, but no harm done. And we can see 0 assists here in 8th, so he's had a bit of an issue because he was running second there for quite a long time. He's dropped back. So pit stop time, in goes Sapper. The rest of us are all staying on track for another lap. You get about 9 laps out of a tank in the Porsche, and some of the other vehicles will be maybe a little bit less than that. So we push on for another lap and it will be time for pit stops. So coming up to the pit stops window, let's see where everyone is sitting. So Black Sugar still out in front and has been pretty much from when the flag dropped. Bialda with a 1.5 second penalty in second. So how far back is the next car behind? Not that far, and it's Rooster, and he's into the podium positions. So what a great recovery drive this has been from Rooster. He's closely followed by Bren. I can see the lights of Bren's car there. And I'm guessing we've got Willie Swerve with a penalty. Yep, behind Bren. Then Lakey Casper. 0 assists. Myself. Yowie. Checkered Globe right back in 10th. Most unusual. Most unusual. Maybe he's been to the pits. And then Sapper, a new driver with us, in Justin in position 11th. It's pit stop time, and let's see who is on target to pit on this lap. So in comes Black Sugar. He's got a good margin over P2. P2 nowhere to be seen behind him. Here's Bialda now coming up. Coming down to the pit entrance. Is he going in? Yes, Bialda's in. Rooster is next. Rooster goes through. Bren goes through. Slow. Lots of fuel. It's fallen 7th. So Rooster's leading, but on the road only. Oh, Bren spins at the Dunlop chicane. Wow. I almost get through. Yeah, certainly Black Sugar's very quick. He's down through there. I'm with Bren. Maybe we can work together up here. Although I'll be cautious there, a bit wide. Don't want to get another penalty. They're costly around this place, and to work yourself up to that position. So I didn't pit at this stage. So let's see who comes into the pits on the next pass. I reckon it's be pit time this lap for myself, and Bren's running probably the same strategy, same car. So we come up through the Porsche curves in karting, approaching the pit entrance. Let's see what happens. Where did I get that penalty? Damn, another half second. So costly here, so easy to do. I must have just gone a bit wide there in that last left-hand bend. It's very easy to get out wide. Okay, well, we're into the pits. Pit time, I think, transit time, etc. is pretty similar for everyone. It just depends on how much fuel you'll need. At this stage, I will put in the maximum, whatever the tank will take. It's slow on the right front, like most people. Not too bad. Just had a little bit of fuel left, and we're back out, clear air. I think that's Bren is just up the road, and yeah, it is. And with that penalty, he'll be even further up the load. Yeah, he comes in as well, and we renew and we resume normal service. Zero assist back in a second, Biel to third. Roosters dropped to fourth, Willie's in fifth. They look to be working together, or Willie's attempting to work with him anyway. And at this stage, a fair way into the race, and still no sign of rain. Actually, there's very little in the way of clouds, even let alone rain, so it will be coming though. The sun's well and truly up now. The lights very good again. Much easier driving for me, at least. Black Sugar back in the lead of the race, where he's been for nearly the whole time except for that pit stop. Zero assist back into second after being down a little early on. Back to where he was. Roosters running in third. Willie not quite holding on to him, but they're close. Sorry, Bielda in third, with Willie in fourth. So where's Rooster? Rooster's in fifth. Wow, okay, so there must have been a little off there. Sapper up to sixth. Loki in seventh. Globe in eighth, with Brand in close company in ninth, leaving myself in 10th, and Yowie behind me in 11th, as we start to spread out on the track after the pit stops. Strategies have been run through, and a little while later the lights come back on and the expected change in the weather arrives. Casper and Sapper having a wonderful door-to-door run here on the straight. Sapper unfortunately with a penalty, which will allow Casper to run on down the road very soon. And so everyone's now thinking, what tyres do I need? Because in practice we'd had some quite variable weather arrangements where it had rained for a short period of time but not enough to warrant a tyre change, and at other times it had really come down and you had to get in as quick as you could and at least get the inters on. So what are these guys going to do as they come down to Arnage? The weather's closing in, and really at this part of the circuit, really wet. You can see the rain falling. So ahead, what does Black Sugar decide to do? No, he rolls the dice. He stays out for another lap. So he's hoping that this is just a light shower that's going to pass on by and he won't go in. Let's see if anyone else blinks. What's Willie going to do? Willie's now up to second. Willie's gone for the wet tyres. Bielda's gone for wet tyres. Rooster rolls the dice. Loki rolls the dice, as does Sapper. What about Bren? Bren's gone for tyres. 0 assist. He stays out, and I stay out. What about Yowie? Where's he? He's in the Porsche curves. Wait for Yowie to get to the pit entrance and see what decision he makes. Down to the pit entrance now, and he stays out. Checker Globe stays out. And perhaps because they were much later in getting to the pit entrance, they had time to see what the weather was going to do, and it does appear that the track's not all that wet. Casper and Sapper in close proximity and just trying to push their way up to Rooster by the looks of it. Just working together. I think it's a bit further away than it looks on some of these camera angles. The cars aren't as close as what you might first think. So those that stayed out seem to be handling the conditions okay. So let's jump forward and see if that was the right answer. Well, those on dry seem to have made the right decision. The people on wets are struggling. Wets and intermediate runners, I suspect, because the rain didn't last all that long. We can see Bren, who was one of those that stopped. He's into the pits to go back to slicks. So that pretty much tells us that those that rolled the dice on this occasion were the lucky ones. Now that's racing though, isn't it? Invariably, it doesn't often pay off. Let's see what the outcome was of all of those changes and pit stops. So Black Sugar with Rooster, Sapper with another penalty, Casper up to 4th, then 0 assists, myself managed up to 6th, Willie in 7th, Bielda in 8th, Yowie in 9th, Checker Globe in 10, and Bren in 11. So a costly outcome for those that pitted for the intermediate and wet tyres in that last rainstorm. So it's still quite overcast and more rain is imminent. I pass Casper, who's gone into the pits. And then that brings me up to 5th. I have 0 assists in front of me in 4th. Sapper in 3rd. Rooster in 2nd. I saw his wipers moving. And Black Sugar still running out in front. So with those wipers on Rooster's car, it's very likely that the rain is about to recommence and make this interesting. Yeah, so Black Sugar's windscreen wipers are on as well. So let's jump forward and see if anyone pits for some inters or some wet tyres. And here's Black Sugar coming up to the pit entrance, and indeed in for a change of tyres to suit the track. What about Rooster? What a great drive from Rooster, back to 2nd. We're at about this 15th or 16th lap, I think, at this stage, and around about an hour into the race. Let's check the numbers. Yeah, lap 15, and let's see who else is coming in. Rooster's in, Sapper's in, 0 assists is in. Intermediate, so Black Sugar. Will it show us what Rooster took? Let's wait and see. Rooster comes out on wets. I'm in. I'm out on inters. Willie's on wets. And it is slippery. Look, people slipping all over the place. So we've got probably 30 minutes left of this race. Let's see how it pans out now, whether we will get a change of tyres before the end. Will the rain stop, Sapper's off the road? Or will we all run with whatever we chose right to the end? With everyone settling into the wet part of the race, let's see where we're all placed now. 11th we have Bren, then Bialda, who had run quite up the field early, Checkered Globe, Yowie, beautiful Cooper's livery on that Altenza. It's hard to get turned. It was very hard, I found, to get turned there. The car just did not want to stop. Checkered Globe, Bialda, go the wrong way, Derek. Willie Swerve in 7th. Then myself. A long way up the road to the next car, clearly sliding it through. Time to check in on the race positions. Black Sugar still out in front, with Rooster holding on to second. Very wet conditions still here. Third place, I couldn't quite catch it. We'll get it in a sec as we come through here on the Mulsanne. Casper in third. A long way up the field now from where he was. Sapper just missing the corner. Then Zero Assists. Then myself. I get it stopped and turned this time. That was good. Willie in seventh, paying the penalty of that early stop for the wet weather tyres when the rest of us decided to take the risk. A long way behind to the next car. Nowhere in sight at this stage. Porsche squirming under brakes. He finally gets it rotated. Then Yowie. How does the front wheel manage to go? Yeah, not too bad here. Checker Globe in the NSX, which is a beautifully stable car to drive. Bealda, who had run right up the top of the field early. Another one to pay the penalty. Will it stop? Will it turn? Yes, just. And Bren also in the Porsche in that lovely corporate tartan livery, with the wipers going flat out. Still the rain was quite heavy, with not a long way to go to the end, so it's probably going to be unlikely that we get another stop for tyres. Jump forward again, we're on lap 20, about halfway around. You can see the drying line, and so the question becomes, I'm on inters, how long are those inters going to last? We've got probably 10 minutes to go, guessing at this stage, 2 or 3 laps. They should be okay, but you can see me hunting for wet parts of the track. Running the right hand side down there, now running the left hand side down the wet side here, before getting back onto the dry line for the corners. So it's looking like we'll get to the end without another stop, at least on my car. Pretty stable, not having too many problems here. It looks to be handling pretty well, doesn't it? That's the spot there where I had run wide earlier, and I'm holding on pretty well here. So how about into the final chicane? Yeah, it's okay. Even touching the curbs, it's not too difficult for me. Bump it up over there. Yeah, it's nice and straight. So again, hunting the wet track on the right hand side there, just to keep the tyres in as good a condition I can so as to not have to stop again. Well, with just over 5 minutes to go, let's have a look at where we're up to. We've just seen Zero Assists have a bit of a moment there, and Sapper as well. And Sapper chasing the wet line, as you can see, like the rest of us. And the yellow flag would indicate there's something happening up ahead. Yellow flag's gone, we're back to normal running. So Zero Assists with Casper close at hand now. Black Sugar and Rooster up the road. Probably got this pretty well done. That's what happened. Okay, so that's a replay of 0 assists. Losing a gear. Okay, I ran a replay there. Unlucky, Nath. Gee, mate, that was unlucky. You're doing so well. So let's see where this all finishes up, because this probably, if not the last lap, must be the penultimate lap. I'm a fair way behind 0 at this stage. I can't see me in the distance, so he's got plenty of gap on me at this stage. Quite a nice dry track. You can see from the wet indicator on the bottom left of the screen that there's not a lot of moisture left on the track, and slicks would have been fine at this point. Depending on whether you're on wets or whether you're on inners will depend on just how much grip you've got at this stage. So just following 0, he's showing inners and they don't look too bad. A Supra can be quite a tyre eater on some tracks, but it looks to have reasonable grip level left there on that car. And we're coming to the end of the race. Unfortunately, 0's got a half-second penalty, which he'll serve just here, and that's tough going, because he had a really good race and had run in second for a lot of the race. He's got his hazards on, running down on the left here. Not far behind. I'm just coming through the last set of corners, and we're coming down here to the Porsche curves, I think, not far from the finish, and he I think concedes the place to me, gives me the place, which is really nice of him. Thanks, Nath, really appreciate it, mate. And the timer will run down here and the race will be pretty well done and dusted, so we'll jump forward and see what the results are. We're on the final lap, Black Sugar leading as expected. I'm the last car on the lead lap. I'm running in 5th, Bielda's 4th, Casper's 3rd, Roosters in 2nd, and Black Sugar will lead us all across the line. So on the Mulsanne for one last run. Casper's pretty close to Rooster at this stage. Amazing turnaround from early in the race for both Rooster and Casper. And Sapper, which Sapper's basically come from last to being an option here for the podium. So let's see if he can get there. Rooster's tyres, look at those wet tyres. Geez mate, they were done, weren't they? You must have been sweating coming to the line at this stage. Through Indianapolis. Still a fair way to go. 3 cars really close together. Sapper's managed to get up onto the podium. Sapper's on half more intermediates. as we can see in that bottom left hand graphic. So he's going to challenge Rooster to the line now because he's got much better tyres. But third's probably still, I think, okay for Rooster. I think he'll be the league champion for Foundation Cup for the season if he finishes third. And Bielda loses it, but so does Sapper and so does Rooster. Oh dear, coming to the line. So there could have been a bit of a turnaround there if just one of them had got through okay. So there's Black Sugar over the line. Rooster for third. Casper spins, as I thought Bielda was, but Casper spun in fourth, and the timer ran out because I was very close behind him at that stage. I saw him spin up the road. But still in all, fifth was my best result for the season, and I really would like to thank all the other Foundation drivers for making it such a lot of fun. Bye for now, and I'll see you all on track.